Why is it such a harsh reality that the more a man loves his family, the more he sacrifices, the less he is appreciated, and sometimes even more harshly scrutinized? If you look closely, you'll see this isn't an isolated case, but a common psychological phenomenon. Once you understand the neurological and psychological drivers behind it, you'll see the issue isn't about who's right or wrong, but about how the human brain operates in a long-term relationship. Most men believe that as long as they treat their wives exceptionally well, shoulder more responsibility, and sacrifice more, they will naturally receive more love and gratitude in return. Ethically, that's not wrong. But neurologically, the human brain has a mechanism called neural adaptation. When a good deed is repeated constantly over a long period, the emotional response of the receiver gradually decreases. What was once a cherished gift slowly becomes the default standard. Once it becomes the default, the brain no longer registers it as something special. In other words, if you constantly carry everything from finances to housework to emotional labor, your partner will gradually view that as the normal state of the relationship. And when that normalcy is missing even a little bit, the brain reacts as if there's a problem, rather than feeling grateful for everything done before. This isn't because people are intentionally ungrateful, it's because the nervous system has adapted to that level of benefit and adjusted its expectations higher. When a relationship falls into a long-term imbalance between the giver and the receiver, another psychological mechanism kicks in: cognitive dissonance. If a person continuously receives too much, but cannot reciprocate equally, deep down they feel uncomfortable with the disparity. To reduce this guilt, the brain self-rationalizes by devaluing the giver. For example, when you achieve something big, they might say, "It's no big deal, anyone could do that." That statement isn't necessarily to deny you, but to ease the psychological pressure of receiving too much while giving too little. Furthermore, when a man overfunctions by taking on every responsibility, he unintentionally robs his partner of the chance to participate and contribute. Humans have a core need to feel valued and influential in the system they belong to. If they don't have to pay a price, put in effort, or take responsibility for anything, it's hard for them to deeply feel the meaning of that family, and thus hard to empathize with your hard work. Value is often tied to cost. Without a cost, the emotional bond is unlikely to be sustainable. Therefore, the more one-sided your sacrifice is, the more likely you are to fall into a paradoxical loop, giving more but being appreciated less. It's not because you are less valuable, but because the structure of the relationship is skewed. The way to break this isn't to stop loving or to become cold, but to reestablish balance. Stop carrying the whole family on your shoulders as a silent proof of your love. Let the other person participate, take responsibility for their parts, make decisions together, and share the pressure. When both invest, both can truly feel the value of the relationship. Understanding this isn't about keeping score or pointing fingers. It's about escaping the kind of blind sacrifice that leaves you exhausted while waiting for recognition. Marriage is not a race of self-torture to impress yourself. It is a journey of two mature individuals, each responsible for their part, together building a balanced, sincere, and equal system. And that equality is the most sustainable foundation for long-term love.